Dr. Homebrew is brought to you by 5 Star Chemicals, providing safety and cleaning supplies for brewing, distilling, and winemaking at 5starchemicals.com.
Doctor, look.
Stand aside, nurse. I'm Dr. Homebrew.
Stand clear.
All right, everyone. Thanks a lot for hanging with us. This is Dr. Homebrew, and we're just in here partying, man. It's just a party.
And they're hanging with us.
That's all it is. That's all we do. We're partying. Through great technical difficulties, we're bringing you the best in what beer has to offer. You know what I'm trying to say? You guys feel me or what?
Yes.
Not if I can avoid it.
That's true. The bathrooms are a little bit tight.
Yeah.
A little bit tight in the restrooms. But, hey, every once in a while you might have to squeeze by somebody washing their hands. All's fair in the bathroom, you know what I mean?
Just let it all hang out?
If you get a hand waving underneath the partition or whatever, then that's a bad sign. You want to get out of there.
I would just like to make note at this point that I'm not actually in this room. I'm calling in.
Yeah.
Well, you sound great from Zimbabwe, wherever you are.
Yes.
That's too bad. That's too bad. Brian and I are in here hanging out, partying, and got a bunch of beers and yeah.
Yep, I know.
You're missing out.
I can see you on the webcam.
Hi.
Oh man,
he's not over there.
I'm not sitting right here where the camera says I am.
That is not.
It's not pointing this way. So
that's true. Well, we're only on this camera right now.
Oh, okay.
They got you.
We're only on the main camera right now, boys.
So I can flip this camera off.
Yes, you can.
You can flip that camera off all you want. The main camera will see it.
You can do whatever you want, Brian. You are a host on Dr. Homebrew.
A host beyond compare.
That's true. This is all true, man. Whatever you guys are saying is true. Welcome, everybody. Once again, thanks a lot for hanging with us. Before we get started breaking down some homebrews, I wanted to thank our fine sponsor, 5 Star. You can go to 5starchemicals.com and check out all the things that they have to offer the home brewer as far as cleaning and sanitizing equipment and supplies, chemicals. Mainly, we have the PBW and Star San, IOStar. That's what it is. I always mess that up.
We like
man.
our chemicals, though.
We really do.
IOStar.
And if you're still using just straight iodophor and you just, that's what you use forever and ever, make the switch, man, because you can't, you can't get better than 5 Star Chemicals. And what the other thing you can't do is clean and sanitize your brewing equipment at the same time. You have to do one and then the other. It's a process. These people have been doing it for years and years, man, and they've taught professional brewers and us home brewers how to properly clean and sanitize our equipment, and let them do the same for you. 5starchemicals.com. .com. The internet, baby.
Remember that bubble?
People say it's happening again.
I've heard that.
But I don't know what to believe now.
You shouldn't.
No, I don't.
It's belief. You should know what to believe. You should just believe.
That's
right?
true.
That's what it's all about.
God, you're smart.
No.
You're smart,
man.
I
just know what not to believe sometimes.
So I haven't seen you guys in like a month. The last time I was here, I wasn't married. What's that about?
Yeah.
Now you've got this big, fat, diamond-encrusted platinum band on your...
It's too heavy.
Yeah.
I can't even wear it.
Man out of you now.
Yeah.
That's
I can't even wear it, man.
How did they do that?
They held me down.
I'm sure they had to, yeah.
They held me down.
It's you.
So today we're going to be talking with a couple home brewers, and we're going to be trying their beers. And one of the beers that we have is a Belgian Pale Ale, which I'm excited to drink because I myself am a connoisseur of the Belgian Pales.
Are you really?
I am.
You am?
I have my own Belgian Pale Ale recipe that,
Is this yours
pretty
under
darn
a
good.
pseudonym?
No, it is not.
Wink, wink.
Wink, wink, nudge, nut. No, it's not really. And then we're going to have what is this thing? It's a sour beer.
It's a black sour blended barrel-aged Roselaire blend Belgian specialty sour beer.
80% black ale fermented with Roselaire and 20% barrel-aged light American sour with a gum rubber band.
The gum rubber band is key.
That does it, right?
Yeah.
That was on the outside of the bottle.
The rubber band was in the barrel.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Does it
I'm getting
smell-
the gum. I'm getting that heavily in.
It gives that chewy character.
Yeah. I gave it a 42.
Slightly rubbery, oilized, chewy, oxidized character.
Yeah, I would have given it a 48, but I needed the gum rubber band to show through
But
a little
I
bit
needed
more.
The answer.
It's a beer and rubber band pairing. You have to chew the rubber band after you drink the beer.
Spread it on a cracker.
Yeah. Why would you do that? Spread it on a cracker. Never mind. We'll just move on. Let's move on.
Let's move on.
Let's just
quickly.
move on. See, we're going to talk to Richard up front here on the first part of the show, and he's the one who has the Belgian Pale Ale. Richie, with us.
Yeah, I'm right here, man.
How's it going, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing?
I stumped you already.
It was a really hard question.
I could tell, man. I could tell just
Let me
in
think
the
about
fear in
that
your
for a
voice.
minute.
Well, I like it. He was going to give me an honest answer, I felt.
Yeah.
And then he realized that no one cares, and it's just, I just...
Thought the better.
be nice. Yeah, and he's like,
Stick to
fine.
lying.
Yeah.
That would have been great if you started telling me everything that went wrong in your day today. Or, my gallbladder, I can't, I broke my shoelace, and...
Is
That
this
would've been
not
amazing.
Dr. Phil?
This is very similar. Neither of us are actually doctors.
Dr. Lowfill.
So that's...
Shit, I have the wrong doctor program.
You do, but it's the right one for you, and that's what matters. So you sent in this lovely Belgian Pale Ale, right?
Yes.
And how long have you been homebrewing?
I've been homebrewing for close to about 2 years now.
Okay. Are you extract or all grain?
I'm all grain.
grain.
Started extract about 2 years ago, and then about a year ago, I jumped into all grain. I ordered a kettle from Northern Brewer. They fucked up my order, and I ordered like a 7-gallon kettle, and they sent me a 10.5 gallon kettle instead. I'm like, not correcting that mistake.
Yeah. Why
Keeping
not?
it.
Yeah, for sure.
So then my buddy and I just built a mash tun, and we trade custody of it, and I've been brewing hardcore ever since.
So you're not the gypsy brewer, but the system is the gypsy system.
Yeah, pretty much.
That goes back and forth. That's cool. That's a good way to do it. And you guys chip in for everything?
We do some
Like equipment?
collaborations, but
Yeah.
we do a lot of stuff just like on our own too.
But like as far as upgrading equipment or anything, do you guys share that as well?
Not exactly. He actually just got a much nicer kettle with a spigot on the bottom. This one just I'm still just lifting it and doing it the hard way.
Oh, that sucks, dude. Don't do that. Get yourself like a hole punch or take it down to like a metal fab shop and get a coupler welded in.
Yeah, but I'm afraid of ruining it or something. I don't know. I'm not handy.
Well, don't do it yourself. If you're
All
afraid
right.
to, yeah, but find a welding shop and just have them put like an inch above the bottom. And just,
Okay.
just weld a half-inch coupler, an inch coupler, or whatever you figure out the size that you need. But don't lift that shit, man. That's terrible.
Especially when it's hot.
Especially when it's hot, and then when it's cold, then it's like, you don't want oxidation. It's a whole thing, man.
Yeah, but it's cheaper than the gym.
It helps
It's
your
cheaper
muscles,
than
yeah.
gym. Well, yeah,
And risky. And less fun.
that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so then let's jump right into the beer, then, man. Brian, why don't you start us off with Rich's Belgian Pale Ale?
Yeah, the Belgian Pale. Right off the bat,
Was that English?
I got a big, bright, perfumey ester up front, and lightly orange-like ester. There's a little spicy white pepper in there, kind of a zesty quality in the aroma. It's got some like orange zest kind of aroma to it. Mm-hmm. Lightly toasty in the malt, kind of low, but supporting beneath the other stuff there. I didn't get any diacetyl or DMS. Kind of has a low spicy hop in there, it seems like. Appearance-wise, it's a light amber-colored beer. Pours a somewhat rocky, moderate-sized head, but it persists just briefly. It kind of fades down. That's actually okay for this style. It kind of tends to do that. Something breaking up those proteins. Something in the chemistry of this beer just tends to do that. So some of the bubbles are larger to start with, but it kind of ends up with a fine ring of bubbles around the edge of the glass there after it fades. I did find that the beer was moderately hazy, and we may or may not be able to blame JP for that.
Which means we will.
Yeah.
I think we have to ask
It was freshly carried to the studio.
Yeah, in my 2-mile drive, it must have shooken up a bit.
All right,
Well, not to mention that I shipped it from the East Coast and it's bottle conditioned.
Yeah.
That's true. See?
So
Rich is already covering for
we
me.
can blame Rich.
I like
Though
this
It's
kid.
been sitting in JP's fridge.
Thank you for being honest with us,
a month,
Rich.
but yeah.
Your beer just went up 1 point.
I like to think I'm in a safe environment.
Yes.
So, appearance-wise, it looks kind of like, color-wise, kind of on the lighter side for the... Or no, sorry, the kind of the darker color for the style. I can't talk tonight. Kind of amber. Anyway.
So it needs to be lighter. Because
Actually, no. I'm sorry. I meant it's on the light side of the style.
it's on the light side for Belgian Pale.
It's like only light amber, if that. It's kind of like kind of golden, orangey colored.
There is
and
kind of
a
like
light
this orange
orangey.
color thing, and
And they can be deeper reddish, than that, right? Yeah.
they could be, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're the connoisseur. You tell us.
Well, I don't know. I've only had like 2, which is West Vleteren and then the one that I make. Well, and then like Peter Munoz's.
West Vleteren does make one of these.
The 6, the Westy 6, isn't
It's
that?
not
what it
a Belgian Pale Ale.
It's not?
No.
What is it?
It's specifically not. New Guidelines puts that as an enkel,
Yeah.
single, Belgian single,
That's
like
stupid.
triple-double single.
Oh,
And they tend to be hoppy, very pale, hop mineral forward.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what the Westy 6 is.
Oh, okay.
No, but
This is a double palm or the Deconic sort of thing.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is not what your friend Peter makes.
Color-wise,
Okay.
this is
Our
about
friend
like a
Peter.
8 SRM, and it goes from 8 to 14 for the style. So you're in there. It's just on the lighter side there.
Okay. But it does have a cool, like, that orange hue.
Yeah.
Is that because maybe there's a little bit of yeast in suspension? Or is that just the color that you get from that malt? Because I think it's a rad color.
Malt.
Yeah?
The
Malt.
yeast is like white if
Yeast
you look
is
at it.
haze.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it would cloud it up a little bit and kind of, interfere with
tinge,
the... I don't know, yeah.
Play with the light rays, yeah.
You forget, I'm really stupid. So I'm asking this dumb question.
Okay.
I like the color. I think it's pretty cool.
This is beer, JP.
It's beer.
That's
It's
true.
orangey,
Is it pretty, JP?
Amber.
Yes.
Okay.
It's pretty.
Welcome back.
In the flavor, I thought it came through with a pretty, fairly actually bold malt flavor with kind of a toasty quality in there, but it's hiding behind this kind of fruity orange and pineapple-y esters in there at a pretty, kind of medium high level. And there is some definite serious yeast character going on there, maybe accented by the yeast in suspension. But the bitterness I found to be kind of medium high, which was maybe a little intense there, but not too distracting. The has a kind of a medium low spicy hop hiding in there. But yeah, I got a little bit of a yeasty character, kind of like almost like a meatiness in there from the yeast that's being kicked up in suspension. And that does kind of kick in the aftertaste. And
More like lamb than pork.
mutton. Yes, kind of finishes medium dry, and it does kind of finish also with a little pithy, kind of orange rindy kind of flavor in there. So there's a lot of fruits going on in here, mostly on the orange side of the spectrum, and kind of citrusy things going on, not from hops, but just from the yeast. And it's an interesting flavor combination in there. There's nothing like really overtly bad coming through. It's just a little bit of maybe balance issue, like a little too bitter, and but yeah, that yeast is kind of distracting. But otherwise, it's seems like a good recipe. Body wise, it's like medium bodied with the medium low carbonation. That I thought it was a little bit flat in the bottle. Maybe it's not. It kicked up a little bit of a head at first, but you feel in your mouth it's not super carbonated. Could be a bottle issue. You never know. Wasn't very creamy and smooth as some of these beers can be. I didn't get any astringency. No obvious warmth in here. Definitely, you don't want it to be hot. You want it to be a refreshing, thirst quenching, fruity, Belgian-y beer with a little bit of spice in it. But it is a little mouth filling, kind of maybe from the yeast too. we can just blame this yeast for everything. But yeah, overall, I thought it was cleanly brewed Belgian Pale Ale with a lot going for it. Haze seems to hurt not just the appearance, but also the everything a little bit, the mouthfeel and the flavor. But it is pretty hazy. You definitely want this beer to be nice and clear, so you can either filter it out or settle it out. Keg it and fill bottles off of that. I mean, I used to bottle condition everything I did too, and that's just fine if you're going to be cellaring it in your personal space and serving it for your friends there, and not carrying it far distances. But you could do some different things to get the clarity up, and it'll also change the flavors too. I think this would be really nice with all that yeast that got kicked up into suspension, but. Just the bitterness was a little bit high. You need to drop that back a bit and bring up the CO2 a bit. I gave it a 30. I thought it was a pretty pleasant drinking beer. It's in the very good category, you could say. And I'd like to hear what Lee has to say about it too.
Me as well.
And you're not.
We don't care what JP says.
No, nobody cares.
So one question for you. Actually, two questions for you. Are you drinking one of these right now? Do you have one in front of you?
I have one right in front of me.
Excellent. Is it nice and clear, or is it also hazy?
It's a little hazy right now. It needs some time, a little more time to clarify.
So does this beer tend to have a chill haze to it?
I think so.
Okay. So that might be part of it. Okay. So Belgian Pale Ale, I mean, it's sort of a 5%-ish, usually some Munich or Vienna Pale Ale, kind of influenced a bit by the British tradition. Although the malt bill is almost a more German-style tradition, although it's not really German per se. But they tend to have a little bit of that toasty character, that sort of mid-amber color. And hops tend to be fairly not prominent, but notable, sort of continental or Styrians or British hops. I would say generally you're in those parameters. Excuse me. I agree with most of what Brian said. For me, the one thing, aside from the haze, and I mean, this definitely did seem to get shaken up a bit, so there's a little bit of extra yeast bitterness and some flavors like that floating around. The one thing for me, other than what Brian said, was I tend to think this beer, it's nice. I gave it a 31. I actually gave it a point more than he did. Oh.
I like you better.
Yeah. Well, just wait, though. I think the fermentation characteristics in this beer are a bit too high. It's got a pretty strong phenol and a very big ester profile to my nose. It's very sort of oranges, like Brian said, but peaches and bruised peaches, and it's a lot of esters in here. I kind of think this beer might be improved a bit with maybe with a throttled back ferment conditions, a little bit of not healthy yeast, but a little bit lower ferment temperature. Or something like that. Probably that would be the thing to do to try and decrease the ferment character. These beers are not supposed to have a big Belgian style ferment character. They can have some, but it shouldn't be like a triple or a strong golden where you've got a ton of phenols and esters floating around, and that's defining the beer. And for me, this beer is kind of like that. I like the nice sort of toasty hints in the amber color from the whatever specialty malts you put in there.
It does seem the
balance seems
strong.
good.
Like it doesn't seem like it's stronger than it should be. Really, it's just it's in that maybe 5% or so range.
Yeah.
What was the
final ABV on that's 5.3.
Yeah, so it's right in target.
That's good.
Yeah, it could almost use a bit more hop character to it in terms of aroma or flavor. You don't want a lot, but I'm getting almost none here. You're thinking it's too much, huh?
I've done this recipe a few times, and I feel like I have the malt bill and the yeast that I want, and it's the hop bill that I'm just kind of playing around with a lot, and I have trouble nailing it down a little bit.
Yeah, well, it doesn't want to be prominently hoppy, but it could probably use a little bit of spiciness in the nose and the flavor to balance it out. But mostly, to my mind, it needs to have its ferment character throttled back a bit. It's just intensely fermentation focused to me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very fruity and fairly phenolic. Those were the first things I picked up in the nose and then in the flavor, too. And they should be kind of secondary characteristics in this beer.
And so the fruitiness is out of style.
I think the quality of it's not bad. The intensity of it, to my mind, is getting out of style. There's just too much of it. It should not be, the ferment character should be restrained in these beers. It's not like some other Belgian beers.
Okay.
It's not like a Saison where you want to crank that ferment temp, right?
Right. You don't want to ferment these at 90. And you know, it's sort of a hybrid. I mean, the modern version of this style, I mean, per the guidelines anyways, it's sort of a hybrid between the Belgian and sort of the British traditions. You know, they definitely had an influence there after World War II, and it's kind of along sort of the lines of a British Pale Ale, but with Belgian yeast and Belgian or whatever sort of hops. They take them from all over. But the ferment character should be a little more restrained in this. So that's my 2 cents. I mean, other than that, I liked it. It'd be nice if it hadn't gotten so shaken up.
Stop it.
No, we're not going to stop it. It's too easy.
Yeah.
JP left it in his suitcase all the way along his wedding adventures.
Carried it to all 4 points of the compass.
Carried it to all 4 Disneyland.
Did he bring it to Disneyland, go on all the roller coasters with it?
I did. I did.
Yeah.
So what did you ferment at with this, and what yeast did you use?
All right, so the yeast I used was the 570 White Labs Belgian Golden Ale.
Okay.
And in terms of temperature control, that's kind of a little difficult for me. I put it into a water bath, throw some wet towels on it, and aim a fan at it and try to keep the water as close to 70 as I can. In terms of exact temperature control, it's kind of not an exact process for me, at least when I brewed this at the end of August when it was like 95 degrees outside.
Yeah, if you're in a system like that, you might want to put brewing this one off till October, November when you get a cooler temperature.
That's going to drive a lot of those yeast characters out higher.
Yeah, this one's definitely fruitier than the first time I brewed this thing, which was last December. And I agree with you guys that it's definitely a bit fruity in terms of the yeast esters there.
Yeah, I mean the fruitiness, like you said, it is pleasant. It's not harsh or crazy. It's just But you could brew that saison in the summer and then do this one in the winter.
Yeah, you'll be all set. I mean, have you had a chance to get like a special palm or a Deconic? Deconic rarely gets over here in any good shape. I've had a couple special palms that were okay.
I haven't had a palm in a long time.
Yeah.
You must be married.
Actually, I am. I actually just got married in August.
Okay.
No special palms.
Fun little coincidence.
Cool.
We're going to have to edit JP here. I mean, try one of those. They tend to be, compared to this, definitely less fruity and phenolic, more malt focused, a little bit of hop character to them. I sort of restrained spicy hop. I would shoot for sort of moving it in that direction.
Fair
would be
enough.
my 2 cents, yeah.
I think what I was kind of trying to go for was kind of like a balance between the malt, the hops, and the yeast. And I agree with what you said about the yeast, that I need to dial back on the fermentation temperature. And I think with the weather getting colder around here, that'll be easier. It's just I guess in my opinion, the hops that I'm trying to dial in there.
Do you feel you didn't get enough, or do you want more or less, or what?
I want less bitterness, and I definitely shot way too high with the bitterness, especially the first time I tried it. First time I tried it was at 39 IBUs coming out of the fermenter. I'm trying to dial it back to I want to dial it back to 30.
Seems like some of that has aged out, but over the last few months that it's been in there. But yeah.
I think so too. And when it first came out, it was too bitter for my liking, and I'm trying to toy with the hop bill, because I guess I was kind of aiming for was a sort of a Belgian pale ale, but I also threw some American hops in there because I like that kind of character, and I thought it would complement the beer.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the bitterness still feels like low 30s, like almost like pale ale kind of a bitterness. American pale ale kind of a bitterness to it.
Yeah, which is probably fine. It's probably about what you want.
Should he back the bitterness down then?
Just shift some of the hops later, and you can if you like the American hops, go ahead, but maybe add some, instead of the American hops, add some more noble hops, Styrians,
or Styrian Aurora is a new one that's out. That's pretty nice, actually.
Gotcha.
Just a little bit of that, 15 and 5 or 0 or something minutes in the boil.
Splash of that, he'll just perk it up a little bit.
Just a little bit, just enough to give it some character.
Well, I mean, do you guys mind if I share with you my hop schedule there?
No, please do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we want to hear it.
Yeah. So, the European variety of Saaz and any European hops right now is kind of, the alpha acids are kind of not great right now. So I use the U.S. variety of Saaz, and that was at 6.5% alpha acids. So I only use a half an ounce of that at a 60-minute boil. I did a first wort of Cascade and it was a 90-minute boil total. Then I threw another half ounce of Cascade in at 5 minutes, and then for a 30-minute whirlpool, I did an ounce of Willamette. And I'm not sure I was in love with my choice of Willamette there.
Seems like a weird choice, no?
Well, I mean, from what I've heard, just the Willamette kind of I've heard it like complements Cascade, and that's kind of what I was trying to aim for there. But
right.
I'm not loving it.
Yeah, but it wouldn't make for a terribly Belgian character either.
Yeah,
no.
I mean, if you're going Belgian Pale, you would want to use those more European hops, right?
And the more I'm listening to you guys, I'm wondering if I'm like misclassifying this beer altogether. Like, would it do better under a different category?
American Pale Ale. I'm kidding.
The yeast character that's there, it definitely has to be Belgian
It's
somewhere.
way too fruity and phenolic to be an American Pale Ale.
Yeah.
It wouldn't do well there.
Would it be like
I
better
think
under like Belgian specialty or something like that?
You could do like a specialty beer as an American Pale Ale brewed with Belgian yeast or something, you know.
Okay.
Or I would just basically tweak this recipe the direction you want to go back it as a Belgian Pale.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, yes, some of the European hops are pretty low alpha. I mean, I was using some Herzbruckers at 1.5% alphas, but they're actually still can be very nice for flavor and aroma hops. You don't need the bittering for that. So, and they can give a very nice quality for the late hop additions still. So I wouldn't rule out using those because they're low alpha. You don't want to you don't want to use them for your bittering hops probably. Yeah. You'll get a lot of leftover hop mass in the kettle with a 1.5 alpha hop. But yeah, for flavor and aroma, those things can be fabulous.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Sure.
Any other questions for the guys?
No. I think that covered what I was going for there.
Okay.
Cool, yeah.
All right.
Perfect. Yeah. Anything else you guys want to tell Rich or ask Rich about
do it again.
Yeah, do it again. You could darken up that malt a little bit more too, and get a little more color in there. It's not going to hurt it. But if you like it on the lighter side, you can definitely keep it there. It's right on the light end, and it's nice. It's got
Well, I'm already looking at my my malt bill. I'm trying to figure out what I would add more of because I already have 5 specialty malts in there. I'm worried about like muddling it up a little bit too much. So,
what's your? Would you mind running through your malt bill?
Yeah, let's do this all staggered, I guess.
Yeah.
So I got 8 pounds of Pilsner, Belgian Pilsner, and then a pound and a quarter of Caribbean. Then 12 ounces of biscuit, 12 ounces of flaked oats, 8 ounces Melanoid.
Yeah.
In what size batch?
5.5 gallons.
5.5 gallons.
You just push up that Caribbean a little bit, and maybe even drive your boil a little bit harder and darken it up a little bit too. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know how hard you drive your boil typically.
That wouldn't make my final gravity too high, you think?
Well, I mean, you can pull back the base malt while you're doing that. Pull the base back just a little bit,
or start with more water.
Yeah,
make it more dilute. Yeah. I mean, you could probably. I'm not sure what role the oats was it.
Yeah,
flaked oats.
I'm not sure if that's needed in a beer like this or not. I mean, it's an interesting thing to add in, but I'm not sure.
I tried it actually. The second time I tried this beer without flaked oats, it was just really thin-bodied, and I felt like that they added a little bit something, so I decided to throw them back in.
Okay. Well, you can certainly do it. Yeah.
Okay.
A little more Caribbean will darken it up. No.
What about that biscuit malt? 12 ounces of biscuit, does that do anything really for his beer with the oats?
It might bring up the malt flavor some.
Yeah.
That's what that stuff's all about. But
I think it's fine where it is.
If it works, it's great. If not, I mean, it's kind of optional. Certainly not the traditional recipe.
Yeah.
Traditional is probably just a blend of Pils malt and either Vienna or Munich. So the other stuff is sort of optional, tweaking for your own particular taste, I think.
Right. I mean, you could, if you like what the oats are doing, you could consider dropping the biscuit the next time and use more of the Vienna instead of that.
Yeah. What are you mashing at for temperature? Mash temp?
151.
Yeah, you could raise it up a couple degrees if you need a little more body too.
Do like 153, 154.
Yeah. Just make sure your ferment really finishes out. Don't leave too much sweetness behind.
Yeah, I'm always making sure I'm rocking the carboy back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
You're using Belgian base malt?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. It seems like the ingredients are pretty authentic. Even though, you got some interesting stuff in there, and it's a lot a lot going on. For like how light the color was, it did drive a pretty good malt flavor still. So it achieved a pretty tasty beer.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, Rich. Thanks, man.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I appreciate it a lot.
All right, man.
Cheers.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye. Cool.
All right.
Well, that's cool. What do you say, brewing for a couple years? Not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Keep it going.
All right, we're going to take a break, and then when we come back, we're going to hopefully talk with Cody, and he has the Gum Rubber Band Black Sour that I'm kind of interested to try, man. Should be a good time. It's Dr. Homebrew, everyone. Back after this.
Hello, fellow BNers. This is Sully from the 21st Amendment Brewery located in San Francisco, just 2 blocks from Giants Park. Before Nico and I opened the 21A and before I was a professional brewer, I homebrewed on my small 4-burner apartment stove in a back house in Santa Monica, California, making my extract brews before graduating to the daunting idea of all-grain brewing. Homebrew books and information was hard to come by back then. The internet hadn't been invented yet, along with other things we take for granted today, like electricity and potable water. One thing I wish I had back then when I was learning was a radio show that could teach me the ins and outs of brewing and answer questions that I had about homebrewing, a resource for making great craft beer. The 21st Amendment Brewery is excited to be a proud sponsor of Dr. Homebrew, a great show that teaches you what you need to know about making incredible beer. Good stuff. Listen up, you might learn something. I certainly did. And thanks for your support. Tasty Crack Games.
Since the first time the Brewing Network microphones turned on, More Beer was behind it. More Beer sponsors the programming on the BN because, like you, they love brewing. And like the Brewing Network, they love sharing their knowledge. Morebeer.com isn't just a website to place your next equipment or ingredient order. Morebeer.com also gives you access to free beer information that will make you a better brewer. Go to morebeer.com and click into the Learning Center. You'll find podcasts, technical facts, video tutorials, and more, including access to The Buzz, More Beer's social network of more than 5,000 members. And some of them might even be crazier about beer than you are. Get over to morebeer.com today and take advantage of The Buzz, the forum, the Learning Center, and make sure you're signed up to receive the newest More Beer catalog. More Beer, bringing you absolutely everything for beer making.
That's it. I've had it. I am never putting hops in my beer again.
What? Why?
It's just too ridiculous. Insane prices, stupid contracts, high shipping costs, crappy selection.
Dude, you need Nico Brew.
Nico Brew will rock your f***ing face right the f*** off your f***ing skull. $5 shipping to all 50 states, plus fantastic international rates get you low prices on Nico Brew's great selection of hops and more. Whether you're a home brewer, a pro brewer, or a homebrew shop owner, Nico Brew can get you the hops you need in increments big and small, single orders, spot buys, or full contracts. And there's only one place to join the uber special secret elite bare bones club where you'll get the best deals anywhere.
Holy f***ing shit.
NicoBrew.com. NIKOBREW. Nico Brew, your bare bones buddy in the brewing business.
Beer tasting games that train your palate, a brewery locator, and the brand new interactive beer style guide. These are just a few of the awesome things you'll find on craftbeer.com. The style guide is a beautiful example of technology in beer. Browse beer style families or turn on the automatic beer style finder and explore beer through color, bitterness, ABV, aroma, and flavor. It's really the coolest way to explore every beer style besides having them all in front of you. Go to craftbeer.com and click on Beer Styles to start the guide. Plus, enjoy the rest of craftbeer.com, the Brewers Banter blogs, beer education, how to host a beer tasting, and the invaluable Draft Quality Manual. Tons of great content that makes your beer better. Visit the new craftbeer.com right now and explore the website that brings you all the passion, camaraderie, and creativity of the craft beer community. Craftbeer.com, celebrating the best of American beer.
Now, back to the examination.
All right, welcome back, everyone. Thanks for sticking with us. Unfortunately, Cody was unable to make it for the show tonight, which is too bad. I'm not hearing from him, so which is probably my fault because I'm pretty stupid. And but we're going to try his beer anyway, and he really wants feedback on. You know why I love the show is because our listeners are rad, man, and they just send us a bunch of extra beer. And Cody sent us 3 750s of sour. And he's like, I really want feedback on this one. And you guys can just take the other ones. And if you want to give me feedback on it, that'd be great. Yeah.
So we might talk to Cody at a future date. Well, maybe we'll just save one of those.
I would like to. I would like to have him on for something else because he's a good dude and he sent us a bunch of beers. And,
Seems like he likes to experiment, too. There's some interesting recipes and interesting concepts on the beers. So
they're concept beers, yes.
It's a concept beers. Album.
Let's see. I thought I had more details on his black sour, but 80% black ale with Rosalaire strain, which is Y yeast.
Cody, how did you brew this beer?
20% barrel aged light American sour. So the kid clearly is doing some sours, multiple batches of sours. So
and blending.
Lee,
Lee,
why don't you take point on this one? Huh?
All right. This was entered as a Belgian specialty, which means it could be pretty much anything. So aroma for this style, for me, I still get slight cough. Sorry, excuse me. Mushrooms, kind of a musty mushroom aroma. Some acidity. In the nose, I'm getting a little bit more acetic than lactic. Just a touch of some woolly kind of Brett character. Some aromas of like dead, dried leaves. No hops at all. A little hint of cocoa in there. Some chocolate. Some dried black bread and figs. It's kind of a very low-key, dark, kind of interesting aroma, though. A lot on the mushrooms, which was interesting. Appearance is deep brown black with pretty good clarity. Pours a low foam, which fades almost immediately to a very low bead, light tan colored. Flavor. Medium to low sourness. It's not that intense a sour beer. In the flavor, it comes across to me a little bit more lactic than acetic, rather than the other way around in the nose. Flavors, again, of mushroom, Amontillado sherry, which I think is probably an oxidation character. Very interesting oxidation character. You don't get that very often. Some chocolate aroma flavors, a little bit of kind of a woody note, not very much. No hops are coming through. IBUs very low, just enough to support pretty much what you want in a sour like this. Balance, I would say the malt's fairly even with the sour. Neither are that strong or intense. It's kind of a nice balance, actually. Finishes dry with some lingering the malt flavor as described above, and the oxidation, the sour. It's pretty clean in terms of any off fermentation characters. No diacetyl or DMS, anything like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Mouthfeel, medium to medium low body. I said medium. I'd say actually kind of low carbonation. It's not hot or alcoholic or solventy to my palate. Not creamy at all. Slightly drying in the finish, probably from the sour and maybe from any wood character that might be in there too.
Yeah.
It's not really astringent. Actually, it might be a little bit astringent.
I think so. Definitely on the end, yeah.
It's not like a Whopper, but there's a little bit of a character in there.
Hamburger?
Like a hamburger?
Yeah, like a Whopper hamburger?
Well, if you like.
Okay, I do.
It's like a Whopper with dried black tea on top to make it astringent.
Ooh,
how's that?
I like that.
Do you?
No.
Okay. I wouldn't either. It's an interesting beer. I like it a lot, actually. It's a very engaging zebra of a beer. This oddball blend of two different sours. I would describe it for me, and this is probably a fairly personal description. I mean, as being pleasantly oxidized within an inch of its life. Some people may differ, and for me, this is that kind of mushroomy Amontillado sherry kind of character. It's an oxidation character. For me, I find it to be fairly strong in this beer.
What is Amontillado sherry? Is it a brand?
It's a variety of sherry.
Okay.
Remember Edgar Allan Poe, the cask of Amontillado? It's very special stuff. It tends to have this kind of mushroomy oxidation character to it.
Okay.
This is why I'm referring out to that.
Yes. Okay. Well, I got that now. I just didn't know. I'd never heard the reference before. I'm not as cultured as some in the room.
You're not very good with 4-syllable words.
No, it's very, very hard.
And this is a 5-cylinder.
Oh,
five.
Yeah, 4 and above.
It has 5.
It's easy for you to say.
Right. No.
I thought you were saying it's Amontillado.
Amontillado, yeah. But other than that, so I mean, I think that oxidation character is going to be very much to different people's tastes as to whether they like it or not, and that's probably going to determine. I could see people giving this beer scores from the mid-20s up to the upper 30s, low 40s, depending whether they like that. Other than that, it's a nice restrained balance. It's not too sour, but it's sour enough. It's very interesting, even though it's not the most complex malt character, but it's an interesting beer. It's well balanced. It's very enjoyable. I actually kind of thought it was pretty nice. I gave it a 34. I thought mostly because I thought the oxidation was a little bit on the intense side, and it's got a little bit of that astringency in the finish.
Yeah, I'll give you the astringency for sure, and that is definitely taking away from the other pleasant flavors. But yeah, it is very complex and very layered, which usually dark sour beers kind of don't work like black. You get the red sours and maybe a little bit darker.
So the thing that's good here is it doesn't have a lot of ashy roast character.
Right, which
that's
is
what
probably that 20% blend of the light American to kind of counter that stuff.
Well, and who knows? I mean, we can't ask today what he put in here, but I would guess I would predict based on flavor, although you never really can because you don't know.
Yeah, that
probably he doesn't have a lot of the ashy or darker kind of dark malts in here. I could be totally wrong, but they're not coming through. I mean, for me, there's a lot of interesting stuff floating around here, but the dominant thing is that sort of oxidation character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the sherry.
Yes. And Brian may have a totally different opinion. We'll find out momentarily. We shall find out.
That's correct. Brian, your moment's on.
I think that Lee doth make a bit too much of the mushroomy quality. I liked
It's because I like mushrooms so much, Brian.
Mushrooms are interesting, yes. So the beer, to me, I agree with a lot of what Lee said, actually. And it is nicely balanced overall. In the aroma, I got a little kind of a smoky note from like the kind of medium light smoky note from the roasty malts, I thought. And when I got into the flavor, it wasn't smoky tasting or anything like that. It wasn't a smoked beer, but it had a little hint of some of the roast left in it, which was a point I wanted to make about this beer, which is it's also not soured to within an inch of its life. It is...
no, it is not.
It's not too intensely sour. It's just at a really nice level for sourness. And that's one of the things about balancing and blending your beers. Sometimes if you have one that didn't sour quite enough and another one that's way over sour, you blend a little bit of that one in with the one that didn't, and it brings it right to the right place. So sometimes that's what the art of blending is about. Just like do a little teaspoon test with a couple different beers, like, okay, 8 parts this, 2 parts that, here we go, it works now, all right, let's bottle it. There was it had a rich kind of cherry like ester in there, and it had a light kind of a sweet tart like character. I get a little bit of that mushroomy character that Lee's talking about, a little kind of cellar like dank, not musty quality to it. But yeah, it's it's kind of hiding behind all the other stuff that's going on here. To me, you definitely get that clean sourness, mostly lactic. There is, as it warmed up too in my glass, I sniffed the warm glass that I had sitting here for a few minutes, and the acetic came through a little bit more there. So there's definitely some, there's a blend of acids in here. Didn't seem to be too high on the barnyardy character, and that I think could ruin this beer too and just dry it out way too much. There's maybe a little leathery quality to it. Overall, in the aroma, I spent a long time on it. It was nice and inviting and complex. Color-wise, it's a rich, deep brown color. Again, it faded. The head faded pretty quickly. There's a little kind of ring of finer bubbles ringing the glass. Collar there, kind of, it just, faded real quick. But sometimes sour beers do that. It'll just drop. But yeah, and the flavor, some of the things I liked, it has nice, rich, cherry-like flavors. A little bit kind of red wine-like in a way, but it also has that moderate, darker malt flavor in there. It's not rich and roasty in the flavor. It's just smooth and dark and, tasty, balanced. With everything else that's going on there. And again, sourness level was just moderate, not heavy, not teeth-meltingly sour. It doesn't. Yeah.
No, but
take
there's
the
that
enamel off.
There's quite a bit of acid though.
Yeah, but it's not to the point.
But there's that difference. So what is it?
Yeah.
I always try to make the distinction between sour and tart.
Right.
Because to me, they're different. And so for me, this would be more tart than sour.
Yeah, if you want to describe it that way, a tart beer being something that still has that impression of sweetness, and a sour beer just being like twist your face out,
Yeah. Would that be incorrect, Lee, do you think?
I don't know. I think it's a highly personal choice. I might characterize it as being lightly sour. It seems a little more obviously sour than just the beer the pH was a touch too low, which is usually what I think of as a tart beer myself. But
okay.
I wouldn't say you're wrong on that. It's just, I'm not sure I'd have the same set point.
Yeah.
I think Brian's comment about it being very red wine-like is very good, though, because it's got a little bit of that acidity. It's got that astringency.
And getting to the mouthfeel, also that light tannin that you're getting, the little astringency in there it's a little tannic, and that gives a nice balance to everything else that's there. And it could just be the residual edges of something from the dark malts that's staying in there that hasn't aged out, and it's not, it's still kind of hanging in there, keeping the balance right. Or from the wood, yeah.
Or both.
Obviously, tannins, of course, yeah. I liked the balance of it. It has kind of a fruit bowl like impression at the end. There's a lot of plum, prune, orange, mango. There's a lot of different fruit flavors mixed in there, and it's pretty cool. There's it's not harsh, just nice, smooth, and rich with everything there. So,
is that something inherent to the yeast, or is that something inherent when you put sour bugs into dark with dark malts like that with those compounds?
It comes from the malt.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the malt character as it's the bugs and everything are eating some of the flavor components in there and leaving others, and what they tend to leave are that those fruit like flavors stay behind, and then the sourness gives that impression of a fruit that it might already resemble. I mean, if you have a Munich malt has a little bit of a cherry like kind of flavor to it. You sour that, it's gonna taste like a tart cherry,
Okay.
So it just changes with the sourness. Anyway, but yeah. So I talked about the mouthfeel a little bit. I agree pretty much with what Lee said. It didn't the carbonation was kind of medium low in there. You could maybe make it a little spritzier, but it was like the carbonation was also creeping up in the neck here when we opened the bottle. So I don't know. There's something going on in the bottle still. I think that's, or else we did bring it here today, so it could be just rousing up whatever's in the bottom and kind of making it get a little happy in there. But nice specialty sour. I really liked it. Treads the line, maintaining some of that black ale character that's in there, but not roasted or burnt or too smoky or anything, while still offering plenty of the clean sourness that you want in a nice blended sour beer, barrel aged sour, and not too dried out, washed out. A lot of the nice flavors are still in there, and it'd be interesting to taste it with even a little more of the black ale blended in. I don't know. Yeah. It's not offensive, it's not sharp, and I'm not sure. We could ask Cody which of the beers was more or less sour. Maybe he's using that the light American sour to give it the tartness, or maybe the black sour is already pretty tart. I'm not sure, but
we don't know.
It came out pretty good. I'd like to be present at the blending session for that one.
It's a nice blend. Yeah,
taste the different ones that he tried.
It's a touch subtle, a very nice lighter bodied blend. It's actually a very interesting beer.
It is.
I like it.
Yeah, normally I don't like dark sour beers because they have those weird qualities.
Dark and roasty, ashy, and especially if you start getting into stronger sour, do not always play well together.
Right, and I think that's probably why he put that 20% light sour back in to kind of crush some of those odd flavors. But you get that fruit bowl, like Brian was saying.
And it's not that dark. I mean, it's brown. It's not like a imperial
dark
stout.
Right, it's not. Yes,
so
exactly.
There's not that much ashy. Your ideas on the malt, the fruit. I mean, the fruit flavors coming from the malter. I mean, it's kind of a new take for me. I mean, I definitely have seen a lot of fruit flavors coming out of malt, especially, the cherry and the Munich, and, every stout or dark beer always seems to have figs and dates for fruits aromas. But your idea that basically the sour beer that ferments is sort of releasing those is an interesting idea.
Opening them up, yeah. Well, it could also be from yeast and bugs kicking out different flavor components. They're doing a lot of things in there, but yeah.
Right. Have you seen that in a lot of your sour beers?
Ask the guys on the sour hour. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know you've done a lot of sours. Have you seen that sort of thing where it seems like the ferment's releasing more of the malt esters?
Yeah, if you have a malt that's a really, a sweet, malty, rich beer, roasty or something, and then you sour it, it takes that roasty edge off a little bit. It pulls, I'm not sure which components it's eating. If the bugs are eating some of the burnt components, which would be kind of a volatile thing, and might be one of the first things to go. Just thinking about it chemically, they're not very stable compounds are created in roasting the malt and burning the outside of the malt, basically, or whatever. Not controlled burn, but yeah, that's going to be some volatile stuff that might be easier for I'm not a bacterium, so I don't know what do I want to eat first. Give me some of that dark burnt stuff.
Yeah, maybe.
Depends which bacterium you are.
This is crazy bacterium. No, I gave the beer a 39. I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was nicely balanced. So good job, Cody. Thank you for sharing it with us. And
that's awesome.
Wish we could have you on with us, but thank you.
And I gave it a 34, and actually I could probably go a few points higher than that. I think it's a nice beer.
You could sip a lot of this after a night of sipping some other stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Cody, sorry, man. Like I said, I take the blame. It's probably my fault somehow. But we'll save one of the other beers and we'll get you on and we'll talk about that too, because you're clearly doing some pushing some weight with this sour beer stuff. So it'd be interesting to talk to you and see what you're doing. Let's take a break real fast, and then when we come back, we're going to do our the ceremonial awarding of the prizes, and then we're going to get out of here. It's Dr. Homebrew, everyone. Stay tuned.
Do you know the 3 most important rules in brewing? Sanitation, sanitation, and sanitation. And no one does it better than 5-Star Chemicals. 5-Star knows sanitation. You can only sanitize clean equipment. And 5-Star knows how to clean, too. For craft brewers and home brewers, 5-Star has what you need to keep your fermenters, serving tanks, kegs, and draft lines sparkling and free of any beer-spoiling bacteria. PBW, caustic, acid cleaners, Star San, SaniClean, lubricants and defoamers, pH stabilizers, and more. 5-Star Chemicals has cleaning supplies, safety supplies, heat exchangers, pumps, hoses, and valves. And 5-Star is proud to offer eco-friendly products that exceed customer expectations. If you have a cleaning problem, you need the 5-Star solution. Visit 5starchemicals.com or call 800-782-7019. 800-782-7019 and get the 5-Star treatment today. High Gravity Homebrewing Supplies wants you to keep it simple. Brewing should be fun. And with High Gravity's amazing electric brewing systems, it is. High Gravity keeps their brewing systems simple, on purpose. More efficient than gas, customizable, and with your choice of 1, 2, or 3 vessels, High Gravity's electric brewing systems will completely change the way you brew beer, formulate recipes, and improve your beer's consistency. Dave at High Gravity can customize your system to fit your needs. High Gravity invites you to visit their Build Your Own Brewery page and see how easy it can be to brew electric. And High Gravity offers $7.99 flat rate shipping on most of their products. www.highgravitybrew.com. High Gravity. Keep it electric. Keep it simple. Visit highgravitybrew.com. Admit it. Homebrewing is not always free of frustrations. Years ago, brothers Bill and Jim Mitchell decided to minimize those frustrations and create an entirely new brewing process and a brand new kitchen appliance, the Pico Brew Zymatic. The Zymatic sits on your kitchen counter and connects to the internet via Wi-Fi. It comes with access to a huge recipe library full of award-winning beers and can brew your next batch at the push of a button. Improve repeatability and refine your recipes with the Pico Brew Zymatic. With minimal cleaning and hassle, the Zymatic enables anyone to brew craft beer in the comfort of their own kitchen. Just add your ingredients and the process of homebrewing becomes simplified and automatic, allowing you to focus on what really matters while you brew. At Pico Brew, they believe everyone should be able to enjoy the art of homebrewing and make their own damn good craft beer. See the Zymatic in action today at picobrew.com.
I'm sorry to tell you this, but We're going to have to pour you out.
Back to Dr. Homebrew.
All right, thanks for sticking with us, everybody. Okay, so it's time for the awards, man. And what awards they are. So our other lovely sponsors, in addition to 5-Star, and by the way, before we move on from that, Cody and Richard will both be getting a prize pack from 5-Star, which I believe is like a 1-pound PBW and Star Sand and some stuff. So they treat us right here. So
those nice the pound jugs of that the PBW is nice to have around.
Yeah, I like them. I think they're pretty fun. So definitely drop them a line, man. If you've if you're into Dr. Homebrew or into free stuff at all, let them know how much it means to you, because it means a lot to us. We really appreciate it. But our other two fine sponsors, Grog Tag and High Gravity Homebrewing and Winemaking Supplies. They are our two sponsors for the highest score and the lowest score. Just something fun we do because, hey, look, we're judging your beer anyway. You're going to get a score whether we grade it or not. So you might as well win something for it.
Fantastic. So you'll win something.
Exactly.
Right. It's very modern.
So the high gravity, the certificate from High Gravity, you can go to highgravitybrew.com and check out what they have. They have a bunch of different electric brewing setups and obviously regular stuff too, and a bunch of ingredients and equipment and everything. They're full service. Anything you need, they have
even sell you a chicken in a sweater, apparently.
That is their mascot, Pippin. That is not a chicken in a sweater. That looks like a cockatoo.
Okay.
But the screen is tilted different ways, and it's a whole thing for you.
It's a whole thing, I guess. They'll sell you a cockatoo in a sweater.
Yeah, it's pretty. Wow, I'm actually on their site. It's pretty cool. They have $7.99 flat rate shipping on most items. That's pretty good, man. And then they have the bird drinking a beer. You can't really see it from where you guys are, but
it looks like a chicken
it's
from
pretty
my
cute.
angle.
Well, you were looking behind a monitor. You don't even see the monitor. What do you know?
No. Your monitor is a chicken.
Anyway, so the award for highgravitybrew.com goes to the brewer with the highest score, and that is Cody, right?
Cody.
Good job, Cody. So I will send your information to Desiree over there, and you can check out all the cool stuff you can snag from High Gravity.
I'm on the mobile version of High Gravity. It has a special chicken.
I like it when sites have a proper mobile.
Google's kind of making you do that these days.
Oh, really?
It puts you lower in the search results, I think, if your site isn't optimized.
It's still nice.
For mobile.
Oh, wow. For Christmas, they have they put little horn. Anyway, check it out. Check out the site. It's pretty cool.
It's amusing.
I like how they have a mascot. I think it's cute. And so that means the winner of the Grog Tag $40, at least your beer will look good, gift certificate goes to Rich for the Belgian Pale Ale.
His beer looks good and it tastes good, too.
So, Rich, you can go check out, if you haven't already, I'm sure you have, grogtag.com, customizable, reusable labels for your beers, wines. They also do coasters, metal signs, all sorts of fun stuff over there. Check them out, grogtag.com. Let me make a note of that. Okay. I think we're out of here, right? That's it.
Yeah. I think we have finished our biz.
That's it. We're done. Before we scram, though, I just want you guys to remember to check out our other fine programs we have. We have here on the Brewing Network.
There's other programs?
There's other programs. Not that you would know.
No.
Because, this is really the only program you should listen to. But we have The Session. We have the Jamil shows.
Gravity beer?
It is about low.
Okay.
I wish it was. I would enjoy my time on it more. I'm just kidding, of course, for you to listen. No. Then we have the Jamil shows. He has a couple shows out there floating around. We have the Sour Hour, of course, with Jay Goodwin from the Rare Barrel. So if you're into sour beers, check that program out.
We'll have to ask him about malt esters.
I think that'd be good. You know what? We could. Next
good.
When we have Cody on, maybe I'll blow a call on the old Jay there and see what he says. Anyway, so check out the rest of the programming here on the Brewing Network.
Meat. There's always the lunch meat.
Stop. There's no more lunch meat. You're pouring salt into an old wound.
Oh, no.
Get out of here, Brian. The rest of you can stay around. All right, it's been Dr. Homebrew, everyone. It's been a lot of fun, and we'll catch you guys later. See you.